Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Adriana Fierstro, your host of Negotiating Happiness. We are broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Welcome, everybody. Please grab your coffee, grab your lunches, and let's dive in. This week, I wanted to do something super fun with you guys, and we're going to kind of do a planning of your trip. If it's either a business trip or it's for pleasure, I'm going to show you kind of my tricks and tips on how to get the best deal, make it budget friendly, but also make it on brand. We are going to have a worksheet that I made available. Everybody can download it. You just have to enter your email and your address on my website at ontarioassistant.com. Let me just show it here for you. There we go. So that is the website. You click on it, and the first link down is going to be the episode 14, which is this episode. You click on it and you get the worksheet. Make sure you click make a copy to save it in your own drive. So I wanted to present to you guys a bunch of tips here and websites and resources so that you can do it all. If you guys are in the comments and you want to send in requests or have questions, please feel free. I'm just going to post a quick comment here. See if anybody's around. There we go. We are streaming on various platforms. Please say hello if you're there. And I'm going to get you guys to look at my screen in just a moment here. First, do you guys know what an incognito window is? Because that's what we're going to be using to make sure that there's not going to be any tracking cookies out there that will track. A lot of airlines tend to do this, and we want to avoid that. So let me start one off for you. I'm going to share my screen here with you. Just bear with me. There we go. Okay, guys, so you can see my screen here. Might be a little bit confusing, but I'm going to right click and I'm going to go new incognito window. And this is what it looks like. Okay. So this is basically where it doesn't know who you are. Up at the top here, you won't have an account. But I do want to show you what I've prepared for us today, which is this planning worksheet. So let's take a really good look at it here. So it's kind of, for anybody listening, this is a Google Sheets kind of worksheet that I prepared, and it's got 4 quadrants. The first one is flights with a bunch of resources and websites of where I go to get the best deal and what I want out of my trip. And the second quadrant is accommodation. The third quadrant is things to consider, things such as luggage costs, airport shuttles, current political climate, travel advisories, food costs, that kind of thing. And the fourth one is activities. So it's also pretty self-explanatory with all of the resources in there and things to consider, such as price and reviews and whatnot. And at the very bottom is your total. So once you find something that's average and kind of like your baseline that fits within your budget, you start adding in here. So whether you're doing flights separately and accommodations separately, or you have a package, I highly recommend a package. You end up saving usually a couple $100. Add it in here, food, activities, transportation, flights, hotels, and it will total it up for you to see what your trip will be. So let's do a quick one, everyone. Let's see here. Perfect. So let's pick something that's pretty common. We'll do London. Let's do London, UK. So we're going here. The first off, on your worksheet, you'll be able to see that I start with Google Flights, because Google Flights does a search across most airlines, most popular airlines, and it helps me kind of create this baseline of what I'm looking at. So Google Flights. So we are here and in the fall. Okay, so I would probably go in the fall here. I would want to leave out of Toronto. And I would go to London. But I just remembered, sorry, my brain is pretty scattered today. So I forgot to mention we are just coming out of the Canada Day long weekend. So I want to say happy Canada Day. Also, if you're wearing orange on Canada Day, my full support to support all of the Indigenous lives lost. I totally understand that we need to bring awareness and we need to actually think about our history and where we want to go forward with that. That's one thing. The second thing that I wanted to mention is for anybody listening in the States, 4th of July is tomorrow. So happy 4th of July. We hope you have a great lineup of activities and barbecue to keep you guys happy and joyous on your national holiday. And I didn't forget, I temporarily forgot. I even made a note to put it on the broadcast and I completely zoned out until now. But yeah, so what we're doing is we're just going to start with the baseline of our trip. So I wanted to go to London, UK. I'll leave it as all airports just to see where things are good. So already you will see here that it will give you some sort of an estimate. It's just loading really slow. I wouldn't go in the summer. I'd probably go like October-ish. So let's say, see, it's around 700 and the other one was around 1200. So I'm already saving if I'm picking the right dates. Let's say I wanted to go 10 days. I feel like that's a really good vacation right there. It's not a couple days. You're going across the ocean. It makes sense. So let's try it out. So it's round trip for one person and economy, because let's face it, we need to be economical about our things here. So right off the bat, it shows you, see there's two airlines here, so then I know there's a stop, an hour and a half in Dublin. Can I just give you a small tip here? So if there is a stop between two connecting flights and it's an hour and a half, it's less than 2 hours, highly don't recommend taking it. I've almost missed my flight twice now, and once was in Reykjavik in Iceland, and I've almost missed it to the point where I was freaking out. They made us go through security again. An hour and a half or an hour is not enough time to potentially grab your luggage, have to go through security again and board a plane, check it again and board a plane, because they will ask you to do that sometimes. They'll ask you to redo it in the middle of the flight, which is crazy to me. It does happen. Highly recommend stay away from an hour flights. Here is it, Air Transat. Air Transat's Canadian, so I know kind of how many stops it's got. And here we've got even less emissions. And we've got Air Transat. Okay, so 750. That makes sense right here. Okay, so that would be 1240 to 340 round trip, 827. So then we'd go ahead and put it in our planner here. That would be 827. I think our broadcast is going in and out. I'm not really sure what's happening here. maybe a little glitchy on the long weekend. Maybe StreamYard wants to take the long weekend off. Let's see here. I just wanted to get the worksheet out for you guys. So on the worksheet, we put something along the lines as 827 is our baseline. So then we know, and that would be 0 stops. Give me 1 minute, everybody. I thought I had a video here that I could show you. There we go. Okay, so I do have a video that will take you through this. I just wanted to put it in here and make it available. Give me 1 moment here. I'm having some difficulty here. Hi everyone. I think we're having some. I apologize. I think we're having some issues with the audio here. I'm going to. Hi everyone. I think we're having some. I apologize. I think we're having issues here with the audio. As you can tell, I'm having terrible, um, terrible feedback here as well. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to fix it all here for you. In the meantime, I think what we were talking about is we're going through our flights and getting that baseline in there with our worksheet. I just wanted to make sure that I've got this here for you properly. Okay, so we are
negotiating happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance.
Clearly, we're having some issues here. You will, you'll definitely find this helpful. I've also put together a little work, particular instance, Toronto to London. It's really great. You can wake up with very minimal jet lag. You're waking up at 7:55 a.m. in London. Great. Wonderful. So if we were to pick this one, I would go back to my worksheet here that you can see. So Google Flights says that my best kind of trip would be Friday, October 13th. So I would put it in here so that I don't forget. So October, I think 23rd. And it wants to go from Toronto, which is YYZ, to, let's see what Gatwick says it is. So Gatwick is LGW. Great. Oh, look at that. Things escaping. Okay, so 0 stops, but it's a what kind of flight is it? It is a and it escapes me. 7 hours and 5 minutes. So let's say 7-hour flight. Great. We managed to get rid of 3 by paying that $70. You're not in transit for another 3 hours, which is amazing when you're already tired. It's a 7-hour trip. 827 is what they quoted. Okay, so this is just like your first leg of this entire research session. LGW is what it was. So now you have everything in here. Yeah, this is because we want to go to London, UK. I can't type now that everybody's watching or about to watch. So this is what our first thing, and this is with Air Transat, which is Canadian. Where these airlines are based out of helps you determine what their stops are more likely. So, for example, the first one, Aer Lingus, I knew he was Irish, so I knew it was going to stop in Dublin, which makes sense, right? And then they switched to British Airways. So you can see it right here. It would stop there. See, 1 hour in Dublin Airport. Munich or Frankfurt, they're huge, and it takes forever to figure out if it's your first time there, to figure out what wing am I in, what gate am I at, all of that. And sometimes these flights require you to pick up your luggage and take it to the next air, which means you have to either go through security again to get your luggage in, or you have to check it in again. So that's not advisable. 1 hour stops, not okay in my books anyway. So so now that we know kind of where we want to go and what the typical price is, obviously 1,000 is on the 1,100 is on the expensive end, and the cheapest would be $7.57. And again, an hour and 30-minute stop in Dublin is very suspect to me. I don't want to do that because I might miss my flight. This has happened to me multiple times until I learn my. Turn to the 23rd, and I'm going to search flights and see what they can come up with. Look at that. Already the prices. So you have to remember all these dotted lines are the stops and how long it shows you. Like Skipflagged is a really great website for visual people because it shows you exactly what to look for. And it's still searching. We're just going to give it a minute. And keep in mind with these discount places, they usually have a fee. So carve out $10 to $20, whether it's Canadian or American or whichever, 10, 20 pounds, whichever currency you're in, because that's what they generally tend to charge. It just gets added to your total. And also, I just want to point out one thing, that just because it says here that our flight's going to be 8:27, it doesn't mean it actually will be once we go to the Air Transat website, but I will show you that after. I just use Google Flights to get an idea. So right now I see that we can get to, that's an hour and 30 minutes. Oh, look, this is the same flight, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So 5:50 p.m. to 8:40 a.m. So this Aer Lingus flight here, that's presented to us at 7:57. You can actually get it for $5.67, and I believe that's American. So you also have to be very careful. I feel like all of these currencies are in American dollars, so they're obviously going to be more. So it's probably going to end up being roughly the same in our Canadian. So see, it says here CA 757. So don't be fooled. Just be very careful at what you're looking at. So we wanted to do the Air Transat one that goes overnight. That's a nonstop. You can see 750. And you get arriving on October 14th. So if we select that one, and on the way back, so we've only looked at our, see how we selected it here. On the way back, we want to do something similar so that we're not super jet lagged. So this one's good too, 8 hours nonstop on the way back. Okay, so it's $6.15 for one person. Let's see what the fees look like. And sometimes doing a hotel with your flight makes more sense. So see, it already tells you it increased the price of this ticket by $8, which is fine. So see, there's a service fee of $20. I knew this was going to happen, which is usually 3.2%, which makes sense. So $643.92, and that would be American. So anytime you're not sure, go to xe.com and put in your amount and convert it to your currency. Let it make sense to you, fully knowing, is this worth it? Is this not worth it? So we're going to go with Canadian dollar, convert. So it's $852.74, which makes sense because Skipflagged added their $20 in here. So this makes sense to us. Skipflagged is sort of tapped into what our Google flight said. If we wanted something cheaper, definitely look at your flight duration and your stops. So we put here up to one stop, and it does depend on when you leave, right? The day and the other ones. So if you click on value, they tell you what the most valuable one is. The one that we picked is because it's nonstop. So I knew that was going to happen. But if you want something cheaper, let's see, price. It's still showing that as the cheapest one, which is amazing. So we know we're on the right track here. So Skipflagged took us to $852 total, right? So we're going to put $852 because of the service fee. And then it's the same flight. So I'm just going to copy it because that was the best bet that I found here. Then next, if you are a student, and my brother is, and we recently did this, they do find cheaper flights. I've used it before when I was a student. I would go to studentuniverse.com. And I want to make sure that I'm getting the best deal. So I'm going to say from YYZ, which it knows is Toronto, Leicester, Pearson Airport to London. They put all airports, but remember, keep in mind you're going out of Gatwick. So September, October 13th to the 23rd. And if you are flexible, I want a round trip economy search. It does give you days that are cheaper in here. So let's see. It's a little slow. There we go. So it found one. And that's the same one that Aer Lingus had before, I bet. Let's see. Does it change to British Airways? It doesn't say, but it actually stops in Dublin at the same time as well. So that's most likely yes. So 579. So let's make sure that we're in the right currency here. I shouldn't have clicked accept cookies, but it's okay. I remember this website allowing us to change currency. But I guess not. Let's see in FAQs. Let's just make sure. Yes, so all prices for student flights are in US dollars. Good to know. So now we can go back to our search. So our search says if we were flying out, so this is how you read it, right? So if you're flying out on Friday, October the 13th, and you came back on October the 23rd, that is our price of $629. With no stops, which I believe is the same flight. Oh, it's taking forever. Sorry, guys. Let's go back to talk about the chart. So 629 is not bad, but I want to see if I can make. So see where it says where it has the shape here. That's the cheapest. Look at that. It found 522. So that would be the cheapest. So that would be October 13th to October 23rd. So 522. Let's see how they found this one. Because it was 629 a second ago. So what happens, guys? They totally trick you. So let's see. Where is the 522? Let's click on it. It'll just show us the 522 price or not. So I think it's referring to the Aer Lingus one at the top, which is 579. It does this because the things fluctuate everywhere. Let's see, nonstop 629. Okay. We'll sort by the cheapest. And you can change these if you want. Like if you don't want to depart then, but then it doesn't make sense for for what it is. So, oh, see, this is what it is. It's because it's 522 goes to Stansted, which is another airport. It's a smaller airport in London. It's harder to get to, in my opinion, but you could definitely get a cheaper flight that way. However, I would stick to this one, to the 629 if it's nonstop, because eventually when you do that, again, the stop isn't feasible. I might miss my flight and that doesn't help me at all. So this one's the same. So if we do a quick 629 without the fees, right, it will probably be the same, but let's select it and see where it takes us. Okay, so if you come back to 1240 to 340, which is what we had, it's 0. If you want to come back later, it's more money. Obviously, we want this one that says $0 extra. So I bet you it's going to be very similar to our skip lagged rate. Oh, it changed to $1. That's okay. So your total cost in USD is $629.45. So at this point, I don't think skip lag would be worth it unless they give us some ridiculous discount on hotels, which we can check later too. And the reason why we do this over and over is because we want to see at the end of the day what's the best cost. If you're just looking for a flight, then obviously this is really easy to spot. You just go directly to the source. And what that means is you could probably go directly to Air Transat and book the same flight. But if they're offering it cheaper on one of these discount sites with the hotel, that makes 1,000% more sense. And that's why we lay it out in the different quadrants, because I want you to be able to see what is the benefit of having all of these together, right? What do I get from it? So Student Universe has the same thing, has the same flights. So I'm only going to put in this. And clearly so far, I could book it on either way. Technically, you are supposed to be a student. I think they have adult rates as well. I'm not sure if they're going to be the same, but you just sort by adult rates and it'll be the same. But so far, and again, don't be fooled with Google Flights. Once you actually click and go to Air Transat, that will increase. That's in my experience anyway. But so far, it's not worth to do skip lag on there, but it might be when we do the hotels. That's where we're at right now. But you just keep going down the list. And we can do Cheapo Air as well. I can show you the difference. Cheapo Air also has some fees in there, but it's not too bad. So let's do Cheapo Air. Oh, just for the sake of things, let's look at hotels. So if we're going to London, UK, check-in October 13th to October 23rd. We'll put it for one person, but I don't think it'll matter. I think it only matters if it's more than 2 people in the room. They start adding charges. And just so you know, for hotels, you have the option, if you're going to a hotel, not a hostel or not an Airbnb, you have the option to ask for a cot or a crib if you need it. It just depends on what it is. It's being super slow. We're just waiting here for Student Universe to give us a rate on a hotel. And I will say, I've stayed in some of the best hostels ever with like private rooms, private bathroom, a great security, 24-hour reception, super helpful with directions and activities to do. They even have a kitchen available for you with free breakfast. I've stayed in amazing hostels, so you don't have to stay in a hotel. And I'll look at this example here. So you're adding an extra like $2,000 to your trip when you do it separately, and this is why we don't. So be very aware, like this says $41 a night. That's not a thing for any of it. So when you go to view email, view details, you'll see why it's probably a hostel, or yeah, so it's a shared hostel, as you can see from the picture. So be aware of what, and it's a 2-star, so you should have known. And also $41, that's crazy. So look at the options. In an 18-bed dorm, so that's obviously shared bathroom and a shared. I've never stayed in a shared dorm unless it was a 4-bed, and then we purchased all of the beds. Even if we needed 3, we purchased all of them, and it was still cheaper than staying at a hotel. And that way, we were the only ones that had a key, or our own group. So what I would have done here, if this was my only, I would have done the twin room, and I would have just purchased it, right? And you even see the Superior King, $2,000 total. So again, it's expensive to stay in a city like that. Don't book your flights or your hotels. So I just wanted to see what the rate was currently. Also, keep in mind, if you are going to stay near an airport, great, but they're generally not centrally located. So anything you want to do or see or visit is not going to be near the airport. So London is really great to get around with by subway. So even if you don't stay like right in downtown center core, it's okay. You can get by with subways for sure. It's got one of the best subways in the world. So anyway, you can filter this down. Obviously, this is super overwhelming to look at, but I don't want to do that. I want to see if I can get a package deal. So if we go back to what our next one is, I think it was Cheapo Air. Yep. You can see here on our sheet, it's Cheapo Air. We're going to do this. And just so you know, I do this multiple times, not just one day. I do this time because prices do change. And I can show you how to put in a price alert so that it comes to your email every single day. So this is cheapoair.ca. So it's obviously the Canadian site, but you can go on the American one as well, which is the .com. I'm just going to put in here limit. So obviously these are going to be Canadian currencies, which is fine. Again, we have xe.com to help us. So September, October 13th to the 23rd. XE, please sponsor me because I use you all the time and I tell everybody. How about you? Well, we could click direct flights, but let's see what's available first. Or see flight and hotel packages. So by now you kind of know what the price of the flight is going to be. So you have this idea of, okay, is there a package that I can look at? So it will look at a hotel for you from the 13th to the 23rd. Let's say you were to stay with a friend and you only need a hotel for like 3 days. You could do a part search here. I only need a hotel for part of my trip. Okay. So what's your budget? This is a really good question about what you budget. This is definitely not my budget. So what I would be doing is looking at how can I cut this down? Let's see. Guest house is okay. Bed and breakfast is okay. Hotel's okay. And generally, Cheapo Air has usually promo codes where you can get $20 off. That's helpful. It doesn't make or break the trip, but it's helpful. So obviously, these are not my my kinds of prices. So let's start looking. So it says lowest price. Then you can start looking at, okay, but where am I really staying? So like 3 stars. Okay. The Bell Hotel. Okay. Gatwick. So Gatwick could be probably close to Gatwick Airport. Okay. The Stag, Easy Hotel, Luton. Luton is also close to an airport, I'm pretty sure. So it's 30 miles away from city center. So maybe not that far. We want something that's a little bit closer. Shepherd's Bush Flats, 1645. So you know you're your flight's about 8:30, so you're spending $800 in on 10 days. So that's probably about, we'll say 8 nights because of the way that the travel works. So let's do the math. Ready? So if we were to do 1645 minus 840, that's about 805 divided by 8 nights. So that's 100 Canadian dollars a night. That is not bad at all. You just have to make sure that you're okay with where you're staying and where it is. So it looks like it's a pretty updated guest house. So that would work. 5 miles, no big deal. We can get through to with the subway anywhere. The Charles Hotel, it's farther away, but looks really nice. There's the Abbey Lodge. Let's see, something that's a little bit closer. Bexley. Boca Hotel. That's 3 miles away, so that's right in the middle of everything. Clearly it's on a regular 762. So we're gonna say that so Cheapo Air would put us in a price that's similar. So it would be around, let's say 1,700 with hotel, right? Okay. So we're gonna leave it at that. So then we know it's very similar. I have a feeling Expedia.ca is going to give you similar results. So let's see. Okay, so I'm just searching in here. Oh, where are we going? No, wait. I'm looking for packages. Okay. So we're leaving from Toronto. You could just do flights. So let's do a quick one just for flights since we're still in the first quadrant, just in case they decide to wow us with their prices. So we're gonna do Toronto to London. Going to go all airports again, and we're departing on October 13th and coming back on the 23rd. Done. So we're just waiting now. Okay. So the same one that we're on. Oh, look, it has a carry-on included. That's something to think about because right now, I don't know about you guys, but in Canada, they charge us for absolutely checked luggage. Some airlines like Air Canada, I believe, have their luggage included. So 827 round trip. I believe that's very close to the other one as well. Let's see. Yeah. 827 round trip or 852, 833. That's the exact same flight for all of that. So we're just going to do it, leave it the same since it's the same flight. That's like the best value for us. It's nonstop. So 827. And we're going to do this. And the only reason why I have Trip Central here is if you're looking for an all-inclusive package, this is kind of where I go. There are other ones, I think selloffvacations.com, and airlines now have all-inclusive packages that you want to check out, but this is just separately if you wanted to do kind of like a Caribbean experience. Again, I'm speaking from like North America, so like 4 hours for us is probably doable for a quick and, you know, more amazing kind of a non-backpacking, non-whatever experience. So you could definitely check that out. And excuse me, let's start looking at accommodations. So my accommodation, my preferred one to look at first is Hostel World. Now, if you're traveling with kids, that might be something different that you're looking at, or an Airbnb. But I tend to start there because that's where I found the best hostels, where they're kind of like guest houses or Airbnbs in their own way, but they have 24-hour reception, and I can book a whole room to myself and a bathroom where I don't have to share with anybody. So this is definitely my preferred one to start with, just to give me an example of, you know, what are we looking at here. So we're going to go to hostelworld.com. It's changed its face over the years. So we want to go to London. We actually stayed in a really good one in London as well, like years back in 2013. At the end, if we have some time, I'm going to show you guys some photos from our past trips. Please don't laugh. We were students and young and having a great time. But I still use the same principles of booking a trip. We recently went to Vancouver. We did some content there. We also saw some friends, and I was able to score us that trip for 200 Canadian dollars, inclusive of taxes. So Toronto to Vancouver, Vancouver to Toronto, all in $200. That is amazing. That was probably the cheapest flight that I've ever booked, aside from maybe Italy to Romania, which was, I think, less than $100 back in 2013. Again, Canadian dollars. So if you're American, that's even less for you. Let's see here. Actually, let's do a quick station intro. So for anybody that's just tuning in, this is Negotiating Happiness, and I am talking about how to book your ultimate trip that's budget friendly, but also hits all of the spots that you're looking for. We're going through you know, from flights to accommodation to activities, and just things to kind of remember. And we are live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And actually, check us out. We're also on Roku TV. You know, for some of our, we're not on yet. We're getting there, but some of our other shows are on the network. Please check them out. And I believe we're also nominated for Podcast of the Year awards that are coming up. So please make sure to vote. I believe the network has a link for you guys to do so. Just keep an eye out or tune in, and you'll hear all of the details. Okay, so let's continue here. We're going to look at not hotels, Hostel World. There we go. So we want to go into London. I'm just going to change it to, just going to leave it for 2, just in case there's 2 of you, but it's just easier to look for things. It does change the options that it gives you, so I want to make sure that I get all the options possible. So 13th to the 23rd. Apply. Let's go. Okay, so my rule of thumb for Hostel World, if it's below an 8, we're not going to go with it. But it depends, right? It depends. Like, see, we see this guy again here, the generator London. That's not bad, but it's not something that I'm looking for right now. So this one has a really great rating. That's 1,900 reviews at 8.3. That's really great. It obviously gives you free Wi-Fi and free breakfast, which is a huge plus. And you can get privates from 121, which is honestly less than what you would pay here. So, and it's obviously Canadian dollars. So let's go. This is obviously sponsored. We want to see why. So let's look at some of the photos and see what kind of conditions. They look clean. These are your shared. I kind of want to see the privates, so we're going to keep going. Super cool. And all of these hostels in different places around the world have such a nice character. Like, look at this. It looks per room. Oh, so the prices are per room. Great. So that's $1,200, and you can pay a deposit. You don't have to pay right away, which is great. Let's say I want something else. It's not really my vibe. I go out of here and try and find something else. So $1,200 is kind of like a benchmark now. So you keep going. See how it says no privates available? You used to be able to sort or filter where it only lets you have privates. So I want an ensuite room. Okay, so not a dorm, put it in a private room, an ensuite room. Single, twin, and double. Or you may want a family room, that could apply too. So all of these now have privates, which is great. That's really close to the hotel, and that's a 7.3. That's not the best, but I'm willing to look at it. They look really cozy, and the privates are only $185. So let's see. So this is just a single with an ensuite bathroom, yay! Or superior double bed if you're going with your partner with an ensuite, amazing. $185. Honestly, you pay that anywhere you go. So that's $1,852 instead of $12 for the other one. But again, it's nicer. It's got an ensuite. It just depends on what you are looking for. So I think for right now, if we look at our chart, we get an idea that this was 17 with the hotel. Cheapo Air kind of knew what it was talking about. So if we were to look at Hostel World, we would say that the price is between $1,200 to $1,800 right now, and it would be yes for the breakfast, and it would be anywhere between 7 to 8 stars. Right, so just so that we remember, so same dates would apply. And the type of accommodation, obviously dorms or hostel. And they were fairly close price because then that would make it more valuable. So London, UK. So I want to see if I can get something like Cheapo Air had, where I can get 1,700 for one person, one. But obviously, if you're searching for 2 people, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but not that much more to get the room. It's just going to add the flight, I guess, for the second person if you're looking at packages. 15th for the 23rd, done. Let's look for one traveler because that's what our benchmark is at Cheapo Air. Done. Search. You can also get a car if you want, but I do not suggest driving in London. You don't need to. Their subway system is amazing. So we're just going on Expedia now to find out. So this is the total trip, so 24 Canadian. So this is what's recommended, but if you start at low to high, you might kind of see some other options. It would be great if breakfast was included, but it won't make or break the deal. Like, look at this. So again, Luton, that's the area. You have to have a little bit of knowledge of kind of where you're going because I've been there before. So Stansted Airport, right? Luton, that's another one close to the airport. Or Gatwick, that's probably close to the airport as well. So it's around 1,700. Lancaster Hotel and oh, they have a hot tub. Ooh. Boca Hotel, that's the other one that we saw in Kensington. That's pretty good because that's Kensington is centrally located. So I would say that 1,700 is a really good benchmark to have if that also includes your your flight. So look at all of the things that are available now that they weren't before. So they have kitchen and microwave, they have free Wi-Fi, laundry if you want, 24/7 desk, which is great. It's also safer to have somebody down there. And I don't think that they have breakfast, but again, it's not the end of the world. You can also buy some stuff for breakfast if you really wanted to make it more affordable and have it there. Then you can start your day and go out at lunchtime. Again, it's not the fanciest. However, we could go on to find other ones that are fancier. So if 1700 is your benchmark and you can do a little bit more, then no problem. You just go to the other ones. So let's see. Where you slept. This is breakfast included, so that can make it worth it. And it looks a little bit more like a hotel. Savera Hotel, I think is what it's called. Has a bar. It has decent bedrooms. Oh, the breakfast area looks nice. You could definitely, like, look at this. There's even a flat screen and a desk in your room. That's awesome. Why it says +0 is because this is what they counted in your total at the top to begin with. If you wanted something else, that's why it says +$200 because you have to add to the total. And I'm sure these are very common knowledge, you know. I just want to show you guys like kind of what the thought process in this is. So it shows you what your trip savings are here, which is saving $250. Honestly, $1,900 for flight, for nonstop flight and hotel and includes breakfast is pretty good. So I would say that it is about $1,900 for both for package. So then you know as you go down. You can also check hotels.com and booking.com, but it'll be very, very similar. I have other options for you guys here, Trivago and Airbnb.ca. With Airbnbs, you could spend hours looking at that stuff. So just make sure you have in mind what's your benchmark for reviews, what's your benchmark for food, breakfast, or what kind of accommodations you need. Like if you wanted a king bed or if you like, those are things that not everybody offers. The other thing that I want to show you quickly before we go off is that my favorite, I've put a couple in here because some of these are also very good options for looking at activities. So you can find free activities anywhere you go. Lonelyplanet.com has a lot of articles on 19 free things to do in X city. So try and find that. For the spot that I picked, UK, they have a lot of art museums and markets that are obviously free to visit. But my favorite thing to do is, again, I go back to my incognito window with no cookies to track. And I go to viator.com. Viator, please sponsor me. I'm not sponsored. I've used it for years. Make sure that my currency is in the right spot here. And I want to say London, England in October. So I'm just going to put a range here. Else that you want to go around there. And taxis in the countryside are kind of a pain. We experienced that firsthand. So go through here, see what you want. If you're saying I can't handle half a day trip or whatever, you can change the duration. So let's say I want 1 to 4 hours max. You could go have high tea. You could go have a dinner cruise. Like I've used this website so many times. So just keep in mind that every single one of these entries is not a Viator activity. It is a third party, most likely, that is registered just like you would on Airbnb, or it obviously like somebody else offers these. But the reviews are super helpful because it tells you what their success rate is, which is amazing. I've done lots of these. I've done oh, that's awesome. I haven't seen that before. The original Harry Potter locations tour. That's amazing. And it's only 35 Canadian dollars. Like you can find some really great stuff on here. up to kind of like the trips where they take you away for like 2 days, right? Let's say you wanted to go to the Highlands from London. Like, I'm sure there are trips that do that. I did this one originally, Jack the Ripper tour in London. It's still only $30. That's amazing. They're so affordable. And look at this. You can go a London walking food tour with secret food tours. That's amazing. I love it. I wish I could go right now. So anyway, this is where we go. So I'm seeing anywhere from $30 to $250. So I'm putting it in my worksheet here. So anywhere from 30 to 250, so that I have an idea of where I'm at. And also Lonely Planet will have a lot of the free stuff. Same with TripAdvisor. You can go tripadvisor.com, tripadvisor.ca, and you will find when you get into London, you can sort it and you'll find 0 rated activities, which is amazing. And other things, if you really can't find anything you're looking for, give it up to a Google search and then you will find it, no problem. So after all of this, I would say that our trip, looking at everything, will be about realistically $1,900 with the package, plus any trips that I might want to make if I'm there for 10 days. I'm going to spend at least $100, $150 on activities, maybe. No, maybe less, maybe $100, so $2,000, and the rest of the things are going to be free. And if I have breakfast included, that's amazing. So if I put breakfast 0, right? And let's say, so 10 days, that's, let's say 20 meals at max. Although I'm telling you right now, if you're exploring things or going to a conference, or you will eat less because you just don't have the time and you're so into it that it won't matter. So, but we'll put 20 meals, depending on where you want to go, do a really big range. So it could be anywhere from $20 to, $20. Let's say you have like a fancier dinner and you're going out to $100, right? So it depends, but you're not going to have 20 meals that are $100. So let's do a quick estimate here. So let's say 3 meals are fancy. Let's just put it that way, right? So 3 nights you go out, whatever, that's $300. That leaves 17 meals at $20. 340 plus 300, it's about $600 in food costs. So with $600 in food costs, you can bank on, what did we say was for Lonely Planet? Maybe $100. So 700 plus 1900. That's $2,600 for a trip. If there were 2 of you, let's add the cost. Let's say the cost of the flight. So it's $3,500 for the 2 of you to go on a 10-day vacation to London, England, which I don't know about you guys, but even when you do all-inclusives, maybe you spend a little bit more not doing an all-inclusive, but it's pretty comparable at $1,700. I don't see much of a difference except the location and the type of activities that you do. So you can use this sheet to kind of give you an idea of what you're looking at and to put everything together. I'll make a spot for you guys to do your totals so that you can definitely check that out. I think we're coming to an end. So I just want to thank everybody. If you have any other questions, I will be in the comments so I can answer them in the comments. However, I'll make this sheet available on my website at ontarioassistant.com. I'll leave a link. Maybe I'll put a little button there where you can get it, which is I'll call it the vacation trip planning worksheet. And you are going to be able to get it. Just make sure you go, when you get it, just go file, make a copy, because this will be locked. So you won't be able to access the original one, you'll just make a copy for yourself in the drive. So this is on Google Sheets. It'll be super easy, super fast. It'll be free to access. So yeah, something like this could definitely help when planning trips. Luggage costs, if we have our carry-on, is free. Maybe another added cost would be if you wanted to check a bag. Honestly, traveling with a personal item and a carry-on, I find it to be fine for a week. Try it, because honestly, you'll never do it again. You don't have to wait for you don't have to wait to get your luggage, or it doesn't get lost, or it's just so much quicker going in. And highly recommend checking in online, because you literally just zoom through. You don't have to. You just get a tag and go up to your security. That's it, which is amazing. So let's see. Another thing here to consider would be the shuttle costs. But if you're taking the subway, let's say in London, you can't spend more than £16 a day from last I remember on the Oyster card, which is really great because you can go anywhere. You could spend a lot more on taxis that way, but £16, I think it's about $30, less than $30 a day if you need to go. If not, they just charge you for the actual trip, which is not a lot. Everybody uses the subway there. Highly recommend. It's wonderful. And there are subways that come every like 2 minutes, and you'll see it on the clock there. It's amazing. So I did pick a really common location, but if you want to search somewhere else, do a little bit of homework into what the city is like before you start going at this stuff, because it will really help. And the Lonely Planet, lonelyplanet.com, has a lot of information on a lot of travel cities, and I believe that sometimes, I can't remember, but they might actually have trips that you can book through there, like guided trips. So check it out there as well. Obviously, current political climate helps. Like, I wouldn't be going to France right now because they're having some issues that they need to sort out with their government. Or if there's any travel advisories, like, can you take out money? Remember when there was that crash and Greece was very hard to visit because they didn't have money in their ATMs or banks? Can you drink the water there? Can you, I don't know. Do you need to think about things like climate? When the first time I went to Spain, I burned really badly on my chest because I was out when everybody was having a siesta at noon. I was out on the beach thinking it's going to be fine, and I burnt myself so bad that I started cracking, like my skin started cracking and it started bleeding. So again, there's a lot of things that you need to consider what you're packing. If you need sunscreen, if not, can you buy it there? That's probably a better choice. Anyway, so this is meant to help you kind of, plan your perfect activity. I hope this helped. And I really hope that you guys enjoy the show. And if you have another location, we can do another planning session if you wanted to. So thank you so much for listening. Again, this is Adriana with Negotiating Happiness. And thank you to the network on United Public Radio Network. And we will see you guys in next week.